let's talk about entities. What? Entities? Are entities even real? What rubbish. I once had a paranormal experience. Do you want me to share that? Well, we may be skeptics or we may be believers that there are ghosts and there are entities. But let's get deeper and understand how an energy worker sees entities and clears entities. So what do entities mean for an energy worker? So firstly, this is not to induce any kind of fear, but to bring in deeper awareness. So there could be many different kinds of entities. There are of course good ones, unconditionally loving light beings as well. We are an entity ourselves. We will be basically discussing entity attachments, those who are not so good for us. So entities are nothing but an energy body that gets a consciousness of its own. You might have often heard this, that business is a separate entity, which means that once the business starts working and once we register our business, it becomes an entity of its own. It gets a consciousness of its own. Similarly, entities, yes, can be souls who are lost and have not found their way to light, but they could also be stored emotional energy in our body that wasn't processed due to trauma and has got a consciousness of its own now and is feeding on our pain. Let's say we experienced a trauma during our childhood and we experienced a very deep negative emotion. What happened was we touched a frequency during that time which opened us up to similar vibrations and similar frequencies. So entities who were vibrating at that similar frequencies, they began to get connected to us. That is because they were feeling a certain emotion and we were feeling a similar emotion, and so the connection was made and they started to get access to us, and in that access they started feeding more on that emotion, and that emotion that we experienced during our trauma continued to grow. So during the energy clearing session, what we really do is we allow that emotion to be processed completely. Once the emotion is processed completely, there is nothing for the energies, the entities to feed on, and we show them with compassion and love the path to light. What you might see on televisions or places is that people stick entities into some cupboards, or they store them in certain boxes and whatnot. As a high integrity energy worker, we come in from a space of deep compassion. We work with the energies of light beings who are of unconditional love and ascended masters and angelic energies, and we offer them compassion, and through that space of compassion we hold space for their deeper, darker emotions and then show them the path of light. That is how we're able to free the entities that have created an attachment on you. And when this happens, there is a lot of ease that takes place in your life. Some people are able to release many addictions, addictive thought patterns, chronic complaining, substance abuse, things that have kept you in a loop for a long time. Now, these are not just lost souls. This could also be emotional energy in your body that has become an entity that has gained a consciousness of itself, and it feeds on your emotional pain. So that is also released in the similar way. So this video is not to scare you, it's not to create any kind of superstitions in you, but to make you aware that as energy workers, we see this in real time, we clear this in real time, and once this happens, we are able to see the shift that the person goes through. It's not a camp, where you go through that exorcism and you behave weirdly and then the removal happens. That is not the case. That is not the case most times. I wouldn't say that is never the case, but I would say that is not the case most of the times, unless the host is really in your body and you need that kind of bodily release. So you will see that the person goes through that body movement and shift, which can look like exorcism. Otherwise, it can also happen with very less drama involved and with a lot of ease. There are times that we invite the energy body, the entity, to speak through them, through the people that we work with, so that we are able to really see what it's doing there, what it wants and what it's feeding on, and then with a lot of love and compassion we can lead it to light. We also see that there are a lot of portals open through which energies keep coming and going of the similar energy and vibration. They are meant to keep you stuck in that vibration, that energy frequency, because that's a part of their purpose, that's a part of their existence, their purpose in being lost, to keep us in this 3D experience of feeling different heavy emotions. So they keep us in that experience, keep us in those low vibrations, because they influence our thoughts, our dreams, they influence our emotions. Like, let's say someone who gets really angry, someone who complains all the time, someone who gets really fearful, anxiety, gets a lot of anxiety, phobias. All of these are sort of examples of energy attachments. um, Someone gets into some addictive behavior, that is also a sign of an entity attachment. It's not that some ghost is attached to you and is not leaving you. Well, it's quite that, but it's not so dramatic in the energy realm, because we see this very often, and it's almost like all these lost souls are feeding on us, on our pain, on our deep dark emotions, and their work is to keep us in that realm so that we are not able to transcend, ascend, live happier, be free, because they themselves are not free, happy, they themselves are stuck. So of course, when someone is stuck, even as a human being, when you're stuck, it's too difficult for you to wish for someone else to be free, right? So their purpose is to keep us in that third dimensional reality of suffering and ego, and they solve their purpose very well. And it's not that they are evil or they are bad, because we all have light and dark in ourselves, right? We all have the light aspects and the dark aspects. That is who we are as beings, as human beings. This is a world of duality, and we have both of these emotions within, we have both of these sides within us, and so is with them. We see that the moment we are offering them compassion, surrounding them with love, holding space for their expression to take place, they are then able to really make a choice and leave to the door of light. There are some who are not ready yet, and in that case we offer them the next best possible path of light, which is where they just move to their next best destiny, wherever it leads them, for the highest good of all. And we invite a lot of unconditionally loving beings to take care of this. So there is a difference between conditionally loving beings and unconditionally loving beings. Conditionally loving beings are the ones who are much like us. We all experience conditional love, and we all offer conditional love. We have the capacity to offer unconditional love, but because of this duality realm that we live in, we end up offering something which is very conditional to others, right? It becomes very transactional. These are energies and entities which are called as the give and take entities, which means you give them something and then they give you back something. They work a lot through healers these days, which means when a healer wants to help someone so much, wants to create something for someone so much, it takes the help of a give and take entity, which means you give something to them, you offer them something. It could be you offer them something, it could be a part of your consciousness. You literally give them some control, or you give them some other things. Like, I've heard the weirdest things. I've heard people offer them some alcohol bottles or some cigarettes if we are working on removing the addictions for a particular person. And in return, they give you that freedom or that result that you seek. These are the energies, the entities which are transactional in nature, and they have powers, they have certain powers. So you give them something that they want, and they give you something in return. I don't want to make it very spooky for you, but I just want you to know the reality, especially the light workers here, that if you're going to a healer and they are promising you certain results, it could very well mean that they are dealing with the give and take entities, wherein they give you the results that you seek, but in return they take a part of your consciousness, they take some control over you, right? So there is some transaction that is happening there apart from the money that you're giving them. This could form a bit of dependency. This could keep you stuck in that loop where anytime you need something to work in your life, you're always going back to them, so you give your power away to them. Then there is this unconditionally loving energy beings who are of a higher realm of existence. They are angelic beings, you can call them, or ascended masters, such as Buddha, Guru Nanak, Kuan Yin, goddess Kuan Yin, and goddesses. All of these energies are unconditionally loving, beautiful energies who are here to support our ascension, our soul growth. Their purpose is for us to ascend. Their purpose is for us to grow on our journey, for us to heal our traumas, for us to heal our karmas and move beyond onto the path of our purpose, to the path of dharma. And so they ensure it by coming in support of us every time we're choosing healing. And these are the amazing beings that we work with to do the release work. When we work with the energy releases, we may set an intention of working with unconditionally loving beings who are here to support our path of ascension, who are meant for the highest and the best good of all. And oftentimes they would say that we're here to give, we're here to offer, and because we're already in a space of abundance, we already have a lot to give. So these are the beings that we work with, which mean like I work with, and the people that I train or I teach, or we work with them. And the idea is to really support all of you on the path of your highest destiny. And is it important to do the entity release, or can the entity just release by positive thinking? Well, I would say that it is possible as you raise your vibrations, whether you're directly releasing the attachments to you, or you're doing certain healing processes to release trauma from your body, some body processes that you're doing to release trauma, or you're making a choice to not stay stuck in certain patterns. You're becoming aware with consciousness and awareness. You are definitely doing this work without even knowing. As you're moving onto the path of your spiritual growth, it is very much possible that you're doing this work without even you knowing that you're releasing energies and entities who've got control over you. So this was a gist about entities, and if you want more content on this, if you have more questions on this, I would love to answer them for you, so ask them below.